What up? It's your boy Los. What I think they lost their mind podcast. Got your boy Los here. Got my guy with me.
It's Lou, baby.
Yeah. What up, champ? How you feeling?
King,
Episode
man.
12.
Damn, bro, we rocking,
We
chat.
rocking,
We
champ. We
rocking. We
rocking.
rocking.
Yeah.
No, I feel good, King. Good day.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
feel
day.
good. I feel
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
good. I
yeah.
feel good. I can't
Yeah,
complain. How
yeah.
about you?
Man, I'm cool. Shake
So,
but fresh, champ.
you know,
Shit clean.
I mean, last time you talked about me.
Hey, listen. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you had to
You don't want to
come
take
back.
yours. You don't want to take yours off.
I'm a head type guy, champ. There's no
Oh,
need.
okay. So,
You get what I'm saying?
okay.
Yeah,
Respect.
there's
Respect.
no
Yeah,
need.
yeah, for sure.
What
For
we
sure.
got for
For
the
sure.
day, champ?
Man, we got a couple hot topics. Want to ask you something though.
Go ahead.
Okay.
There you go.
How you feel about the Tyler Perry situation?
Um, Man, I feel like
Well, for those who don't
all
know,
right, cool. Talk to him.
Tyler Perry got an allegation, sexual allegation, that I guess a former employee he used to work for, used to work for him, came out and said that Tyler Perry made some
Advances
uh,
towards him, sexual
yeah,
advances
yeah,
towards him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Gave him a position, gave him a job, you know what I mean. But then things escalated, and they kind of got into a personal relationship.
Yeah. Apparently,
Like,
I was in a room, slept over.
Tyler
Tyler
Perry
probably
got
walked in the room.
laid in the bed with him.
Oh, it went that far?
Yeah, he said he got in the bed with him. He laid down
Okay.
with him and shit. He said
I
he
thought
started
he
rubbing his
just.
thighs. Said
Ooh.
nigga had shorts on. So he started rubbing his
Yeah.
thigh.
Yo, don't touch my fucking thighs.
Said he started rubbing his thigh.
Damn.
Yeah,
Nah, see, I just was reading like the text messages, and
yeah.
and I just felt like, you know, toast on for 260 mil.
260. 260, bro.
260
So
mil.
before we even get to that, are we saying Tyler Perry gay?
Um,
You said you read the text message. Did it read like two gay guys?
I mean, I don't know what two gay guy text messages look like.
I mean, I'm sorry. Let me reword it. When you read the text message, did it read like a relationship, an intimate relationship?
No, it didn't read like an intimate relationship. The messages that I saw more so read like somebody trying to go at somebody without going like the laugh out loud. You know how when you trying to feel somebody energy
Yeah,
or their temperature.
yeah.
And I felt like a lot of the messages was more so throwing things out there, but then following up with a laugh out loud. And if obviously you've been involved in any type of relationship
Mm-hmm.
and how it starts, or trying to get to know someone, you throw the laugh my ass off or the laugh out loud just to bring things, back versus, being so serious. So I think it was a lot of that thrown in there from what I saw.
Right.
And I think Tyler probably just basically wanted to make things clear. I know I saw something where he was just explaining, and again, these are text messages I read from, I believe, another reliable source, I would say. I'm not going to say the company, but it was a reliable source. And basically, I mean, but it could have also still been AI. So I'm just going off of what I saw. And he also expressed to the gentleman that, hey, remember, this is a personal type relationship more so than don't be sharing this while we doing a show and everything, because people could look upon you in a total different take away, basically to take away from your work.
We used to watch It What It Is, and Cam be telling OJ, like, OJ, bro, did you think he liked the guy? Now you think the question is, I'm asking, I got all that. Do you think that Tyler Perry is down low? That's what I'm asking you, bro. You give me all this other question. Answer the question, bro.
Do I think he was interested in the guy? I believe so.
Okay. Do you think that it's another situation about money?
I think in some ways it's a money grab.
Okay.
I think it's a money grab, but again, I would not be able to tell someone how to feel about certain things.
For sure.
But I felt like Yo got what he got out of the deal, and then now he's coming back around, circling back around to put the dag up in him.
What?
What? I mean, when I say dag, I'm talking about stabbing somebody in the back. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop while I'm here.
Hey, but it seems like, honestly though, it just seems like, well, we didn't hear this story so many times, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
do it get old.
Yeah, it does.
But I think it's a little different now because now it's a male.
No, it's not. Why does it make any difference?
I mean, because I'm gonna just
because there was always rumors that Tyler was in the closet.
I mean, yeah, but what I'm gonna say is now is a male coming out. I think he was on the show The Oval or Ruthless or something like that.
Yeah, I never seen
I
him.
don't know,
Yeah,
but
he black guy, black guy.
he white guy.
He's a white guy.
Yes.
Oh, it's a white guy. Oh, that's crazy. Oh no, I don't know, bro. This is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a white guy. Caucasian male.
Yo, that's different.
It is. It is.
Ain't nobody say no more. Ain't nobody say, bro.
Nobody
Yo, that's
say.
crazy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Nobody
Damn.
say.
Okay.
I mean, but are you taking the leg rub for 260 mil?
What?
Are you?
Nah, bro.
See, you just spoke about what Cam would
No,
say,
no, no, no.
but
I
I'm
said
asking you
nah.
a direct
Nah,
question.
nah. I don't do anything for
Would
money.
you take a leg rub from Tyler Perry for
But
260 mil?
nah, I don't do anything for money, boss. Okay. Yo,
You telling me
I told
that
you.
you,
I
if
told
a
you.
man rub your leg
Hey, yo,
and
yo,
tell you he
trying.
gonna give you
Yo,
260,
hey, yo,
you ain't taking a leg rub.
you're trying to change my mind. I told you no. They knows what it is.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Hey, listen,
oh.
offer this man 260 and see if he lets you rub his leg.
Are you?
No, absolutely not.
Boy, you're lying. So what makes you?
What makes me so I s-
So what makes you? Okay, cool. You convinced you said I would do it, but how about you? So you trying to tell me that Tyler Perry couldn't rub your leg for 260,
no,
260 mil?
no.
Okay. Offer him 260 mil and see who can rub them. And you got on shorts.
He can rub my calf muscle off.
Yo, different. Yo,
Nah,
yo, yo.
I ain't going down for that
Hey,
260
let me ask
mil.
you a question
He said he
though.
was in the bed with him though.
Let me ask you a question
Go ahead,
though.
go ahead, go ahead.
How you feel about how you feel about guys coming on to guys, bro? Has that ever happened to you?
Hey yo, absolutely. I've been hit on by males before.
What they say to you?
Shit that was disrespectful and I felt some type of way, so I cussed their ass out like a female would.
So you was okay, okay,
Yeah, I went off.
okay.
I mean, it happens. I mean, unfortunately, in this day
Mm-hmm.
and life, you know, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I had,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want, I ain't even gonna speak on it because it's gonna get me towards to say something I probably shouldn't,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
incriminate
yeah.
myself.
Give a quick shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by LL13 Fitness and Heartbeat Security, two powerhouses moving with purpose. LL13 Fitness is where dedication meets results. Mind right, body tight, and remember, we got work to do. And Heartbeat Security, they are not just watching doors, they are protecting dreams. Real presence, real protection. Trust a brand that do more than this talk. They deliver. The Instagram page for LL13 Fitness is at LL13 Fitness. The website, LL13fitness.com. The telephone number, 443-676-5882. And Heartbeat Security. Instagram, at Heartbeat Security. Email address, HRTBTSCRT at gmail.com. For one more time, HRTBTSCRT at gmail.com. And the telephone number is 443-676-5882. Let's get right back to the pod.
That situation was, I guess he had legal fees. He had, I think he got sued a few times, and I think it's a large lump sum of money. People were saying, let's say, I guess they was asking Dame, and he got forfeit his house, he got forfeit his network he has, which is called American New Network that he has, and I think some other things. And some people was asking like, yo, like Dame kind of in a bad predicament right now, as far as will be sick, as far as will be heard. We don't really know. And the question was like, yo, like, him and Jay Z had history. Jay should help him out. So my question to you is, if you had history and somebody was like your brother, or you called him your brother, or y'all have whatever the case may be, and y'all no longer cool, but you're in a position to help if you could. Would you?
Absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Hey, yo, I mean, because it matters what.
And they added, not to cut you off, they added in that Dame, not saying that it matters. Jay also, he's betting 1 million on OKC.
Okay, that's his money.
Not disputing, not doing. And he, of course, they lost the mill. So the question was, would you know what I'm saying? As you said, no.
Hey, yo, listen, and I'm gonna say this, and nothing against Dane, you know what I'm saying, but if you can't come on certain platforms and speak dirt on a man name and then have expectations for somebody to save you. And I'm not saying Dame, you're saying that the people were saying this. Dame didn't say this.
So what?
That he wasn't looking for Jay to save
No,
him.
no, no. This is
This is
people,
the
just people
people.
that have
Yeah.
a big based off the relationship.
So
you know,
I mean that was a past relationship, chat.
yeah,
That was a past relationship. That relationship been gone, finished. That was 10 plus years ago.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? So they totally different now.
right.
Whatever Jay doing with his money, yeah, Jay got the money, but if he want to give 10 million to charity, he could. You understand what I'm saying? But what I'm not about to do is I'm gonna let you eat your words.
What's his
Right?
word?
So therefore, again, Dame Dash have spoke on Jay name in a certain way without speaking on Jay name directly.
He did. I mean, I think he
Yeah.
said it directly, though. I
Yeah,
don't think he was sugarcoating.
So he spoke on Jay name, and the people gotta understand, man. Once you do that, man, is at a lost cause. And I think we spoke about it before,
Mhm.
where I've been in friendships that people spoke bad on my name. And the thing about it is, if we stop talking today tomorrow, and I find that you speak, I would never speak bad on your name,
Right.
regardless of what we went through or how. I would never speak bad on your name.
Right.
If someone question why we not cool anymore, whatever, I tell him to go ask you.
Right.
But if I find out that you speaking bad on my name, we definitely done because we can't come back from that.
Mm.
Why would you go to an outsider and speak upon me
Yeah,
versus?
I don't think necessarily he spoke. I don't necessarily he spoke about people asking questions. He just answered the question.
Yeah, but some questions are better left unsaid with that.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? And I understand that we working on a healing thing, but to go public and answer the questions that the people asking, Jay still haven't said anything regarding Dame.
He never will.
So therefore, the people gotta understand, man. When you go out here and I mean, I know Dame Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I like the Harlem dudes. I like their swag. You know what I mean? A lot of them arrogant. That's just them. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? You got to be a man, and you gonna have to get yourself out of that hole.
Mm.
And like I said, not saying Dame didn't ask Jay for nothing, but for the people, yeah, man, nah, Jay don't. I mean, I don't care what position Jay in. I don't feel like Jay is obligated to help him. I don't care if we was brothers back past tense. We ain't got the same blood. Now we had the same blood running through us. It's a little different.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Blood is thicker than water.
Okay. Okay.
So now if Dane was really Jay blood brother and he wanna, really find in his heart to help his blood brother, all right, cool. But when it comes down to somebody speaking on your name, and again, yes, people presented the questions. The only thing he had to say is I don't want to talk about that today. So therefore, no, I don't think Jay wrong. Jay can keep on betting. Jay got to where Jay is. And that's what people don't understand. When you're in a position where you are because what do he say?
What?
They said they made it, Jay. We'll make another one.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, he reaping the benefits of what he made, what he built.
Okay, well, I think people were speaking about it from the perspective of, yeah, Jay is, for sure, but they also started Rockefeller together. Right? They started Rockefeller together, and I think that what happened is a lot of people may not totally agree with Jay. I mean, agree with Dame, right? Based off his personality, being from Harlem, whatever the case may be. But some people say a lot of fights that he fought was for Hope. A lot of relationships that he messed up was for Hope.
I don't agree.
Well, what do
I
you
mean,
mean?
and I don't know.
Don't
I
agree?
wasn't,
Yeah, we don't.
but
Yeah.
but if you look at backstage, go back at backstage. Look at back,
You
and
still
I
in that
keep on telling you
backstage,
because you
boy.
never went back and looked at it.
You still that backstage,
Go
boy.
back to backstage and see how arrogant and how much shit the Dame Dash talked
Yeah,
when it came down to certain things.
yeah, yeah.
Like, come on,
Hey, yo,
champ.
listen, I'm not discrediting that. I'm
You
not saying,
understand what I'm
oh,
saying?
I'm
Like,
not
yo, you
saying that he
reap what you
didn't.
sow.
I'm not saying that he didn't. You know what I'm saying? But we also talking about people back in the day who was in their 20s who had multi-millions. I'm not saying what's right. I'm
But
not
yo, he still speak on things he shouldn't speak on.
like what?
I mean, it's a few things. How he even went on the Breakfast Club and was blasting them for having shares with their company. They not bosses
I
because
think his
they don't
delivery
own
be
the
up.
company.
I
Yeah,
think his
yo, delivery
delivery
some
up.
shit.
I think the message is good. The delivery just off.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I think delivery is off.
Because you know
Yeah,
what I mean, it
delivery
becomes
off.
offensive.
For
How you
sure.
gonna go on the Breakfast Club, and tell them they not bosses
Yeah,
just because they don't own the Breakfast Club?
yeah. I got you. I got you. Well, I think delivery though. Well, we could agree to disagree.
Do you consider yourself? I mean, what do you consider it should be? What you think?
Fuck what?
As far as the Dame Dash and Jay, as far as him, would you go back and help him out?
If I'm whole,
Yeah,
I don't know, yo. That's a tough one, bro. Oh, that's a tough one, bro. I
you know the
mean,
answer, champ.
I don't know,
You're a
yo.
Dame Dash fan, but you know the fucking answer
No,
because there's a lot of guys. I ain't say no
but it all
names.
depends on the relationship with the people.
It don't. Yo,
Nah,
listen.
nah, nah.
He ruined that relationship.
But that
So
matters though. That
again,
matters.
it's a lot of guys.
Let's say, man. Let's say, look, I give a prime example. We could use. Let's use Gerald, right? Let's say me and Gerald had a falling out to the point where it was, whatever. I probably still would, yo, based off of that
Hey,
relationship.
yo, but you
I use
gotta
for
understand
example.
the falling out though.
That's what I'm saying.
Gerald has. You gotta
I'm used
understand.
for. It's just an example.
Yeah, but it gotta be more of that of an example. You're
Right.
speaking about just a person.
That's
What
what
did that person do to you though?
That's what. Right. So
Right.
what I'm saying
So
to you is,
it don't matter the
it does
person.
so. It
No,
does
it
so.
doesn't. No, it doesn't.
How you gonna tell me what matters to me, bro?
Listen.
What you talking about?
Yo, it doesn't matter the person.
How you gonna tell me to you it don't matter the person?
It matters what transpired
That's to
between you
you
and the
though.
person.
That's to you.
So
You
so
speaking
so
about
listen.
you.
So listen. I ain't gonna talk no names.
Don't throw no names out.
But we know somebody that you don't rock with at all.
Absolutely not. We're not. Absolutely not.
But what if his name was Gerald?
It's not the same person, my guy. That's why the person matters, bro.
Man, you capping.
I'm telling you the truth, bro.
You
I'm telling you the
capping.
truth.
You capping.
I'm telling you the truth.
You know you capping.
I'm not. How I got
You
me?
capping. Okay. You only said Gerald because Gerald was our guy and Gerald hasn't crossed you.
Yeah, but if you talking about all the other, I said
We
no.
speaking about anybody that has crossed
I said
you.
no.
No.
I
You're
said
not
no.
doing it.
No.
Right.
No.
So why bring up Gerald?
I use that for an example. Listen to me. Hear me out.
Because Gerald never crossed you.
What I'm saying?
So you can't use him for example. Yes, him as a person, he a dope guy, but you can't use him as a person because Gerald has never crossed neither one of us.
Oh, okay. You right. You so funny, yo.
You get what I'm saying?
I got
Let's
you.
speak
Go
on the
ahead.
guys that crossed you and say, would you go back and help them out?
But the relationships ain't the same. That's what I'm saying. Like the
It
relationship.
don't matter. But
it does matter.
The relationship was once there where you was vulnerable to those people at some point in your life.
Okay.
So you telling me you gonna reach back and help them out?
I think there's a difference, bro. I'm trying to tell you there's a difference.
Man,
There's a difference.
stop it, man.
Listen, look,
You capping right now.
I'm keeping it being. Listen, hit me out. I'm saying there's a difference. We're gonna have to get to the part.
Yeah, we gotta get to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you there's a difference. But here's the difference that is. If you're comparing, I'm using because we see things differently. Your thing is.
I'm talking about me. You feel like my heart is even more crazy where there's a couple people I reach back for. But if I say no, I know for a fact you saying no.
I'm saying no to all them, 1,000%. But I'm not talking
so
about
that's the Dame Dashes. Why do you feel like Jay-Z and Dame Dash relationship was just so big of it all? It was a business relationship.
I don't think it was. I'm trying to tell you.
I mean, okay, so those guys those guys
are fixable.
Those guys that's in that thing, Gerald is our Memphis Bleak.
Okay, but I think it's okay, cool.
So therefore, those guys wasn't Dame. Those guys were Dame.
I don't think so. What I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Yo, here's what I'm saying to you. I think that relationship is fixable. The problem is a lack of conversation.
Are you serious?
I believe it's fixable, bro.
It's not fixable, Jack.
I think so.
No, when you get on platforms and answer questions that you probably shouldn't even answer, there's no way that I can accept you back as a friend.
Okay.
Because now I'm going to think that the relationship is like yo, why would I want you in my circle? I don't know. I'm scared, or I don't
See,
even know what you'll
the
do.
conversation wasn't
You
about
got to be careful with somebody like
the
Dame Dash.
conversation wasn't about bringing back into the circle, bro. The
It,
question
yo,
was is, would you forgive or move forward without holding the grudge? Conversation, right? If we talking about strictly conversation, we talking about strictly conversation. If we're in a place we talking about we healing, we talking about strictly conversation. We just had a situation with somebody that happened to her, person got whatever, and you know, I was like, yo, we should reach out and say something, even though we don't talk. I'ma still do that, bro. I'ma still do. I'ma still send a text or say something. Yeah, we don't talk. We don't bang. But I was in a text. It wasn't that bad.
but we are talking about two totally different things.
I'm talking
You
about.
talking about a traumatic experience that affected somebody versus somebody needing money.
But this is traumatic. What you mean, a person can lose? So traumatic, it can't be where the person gonna lose everything.
Man, listen. Yeah, I get that.
That's not
What-
traumatic.
But okay, what I am saying is again,
Go ahead.
when it comes down to it, it's more than just a conversation.
Right.
You are sitting here making the same like if Jay and Dame have a conversation, they just need to have a conversation. Now, it's more to that now.
Yo, when I'm saying
You done tarnished so many things, so many business deals and the whole nine. And yeah, Jay was able to recover and was able to move, separate from him. But yo, you done fucked over a lot of friendships,
Hey,
a
yo.
lot of relationships. Why would I even want to have a conversation with you?
I got you. That's how you
It's
feel.
no,
I got you.
yeah,
I got you.
I'm not having no I'm not having no You done fucked over a lot of things.
For himself, not for them.
Hey yo, but
For
it could,
themselves.
but if yo would have stuck around, it could have been for him too.
But it didn't though, bro.
All right, well, guess what? I ain't fucking with him.
All right.
So what was that?
What's the top of the day? Cause you a little war. What's the top of the day?
Man, the top of the day is traumatic experiences
Okay.
and how to get through certain traumatic experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the day is part one.
Part one.
Yeah. So
Part
it
one,
starts
part
with
one.
me.
Yeah.
Next
we-
episode, we're gonna
for sure.
finish part two with you.
And what triggered it? We had some experiences that happened this weekend.
Absolutely.
You want to speak on it?
Yeah, we can speak briefly.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, well, no, because that ain't really what triggered it. But
well,
we
it
we
didn't-
already had this topic planned
Right.
where we was gonna speak about traumatic experiences.
Right.
But one about
Boys in blue.
Boys in Blue. Yeah, one of our Boys in Blue, you know what I mean, encountered a traumatic experience
Yeah.
just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of led into our topic today. And shout out to him, you know what I mean, praying for a speedy recovery.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying, and the family, whatever. We're
For
gonna
sure.
reach out. But you know, so basically we spoke about traumatic experiences, and I'm sure now that he had encountered similar to what I have encountered and some things that Antoine
Mhm.
Lou have encountered, you know, I'm sure he'll be able to speak on it, and he'll kind of, as his recovery go on, he'll kind of understand how things, you know, flourish or what
Yeah.
transpires when you're going through these things.
Yeah.
What you got though?
I mean, continue. I mean, so since you said about traumatic experience, what traumatic experience did you have
Well, we kind of touched on early in the pod
early on? Yeah, we did.
early on, maybe episode 1, episode 2,
Yeah.
in reference to me being involved in several, well, I would say 2 shootings.
Yeah.
Right. So I was involved in a shooting as a cop in 2011. I would say May
Okay.
20. No, July 2011.
Okay.
July
The first
2011. Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay.
And my second one, I was involved in a shooting in December of 2012.
Mhm.
So basically, in 2011, you know what I mean, I was working in Baltimore City Police Department, and at that time, me and Twan talked about how I used to be able to pick and choose who I wanted to work with for the day.
Yeah.
It was like a typical initiative unit trying to get drugs, handguns, violent offenders off the street. So therefore, I was, you know, we didn't have so much. We was Baltimore City was always a department where we ran short. So therefore, sometimes we didn't have those specialized units to assist us. So at that time, my lieutenant figured, you know, we try to get a team of 2 people or whatever to kind of, you know, assist with, you know, again, violent offenders, you know, drugs,
Crime suppression.
and
Gotcha.
yeah, like a crime suppression team. And
Mhm.
it was 2 of us. So usually I was the guy because I was just a workhorse,
Mhm.
and I used to, you know, be everywhere. So basically, he was like, "Listen, you can pick and choose who you want to work with for the day." And so this is another time where I picked and choose one of my guys, man.
Who got that?
I had fed that day, champ.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
And
I
he was at
had.
7-Eleven.
He was at 7
Go ahead,
Eleven. So
go
so
ahead.
I had one of my guys who's no longer officer, man. But I had one of my guys with me at the time, and he was a workhorse as well. Came from the Northwest District, and he came over to the Western. And so from there, we established. I didn't know him. You actually knew him
From the academy.
from the
From the
academy,
academy.
and then I got to know him. And at that time, basically, who you fuck with, who you rock with, I was rocking with.
For sure,
You know what I'm saying? So basically, me and him got to rock, and then I saw he was a workhorse just like myself. So from there, that was a day like we was working together. Early on in the shift, like I'm talking like straight out of roll call, we got a call for a shooting on was
Fulton,
that Lanville. Yeah,
Lambo?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Fulton and Lambeau. No, we got it was on Lambeau. We got a call for a shooting. Basically two guys, and I actually know one of the guys, but two guys was shooting back and forth at each other. And when we went there, we responded there. We didn't see anything, so we cleared the call. But then got the call again, and that's when everybody from the district kind of came out, and we saw it was an open door. So usually, typically, as an officer, you see an open door. You'll explain to dispatch that it's an open door, and typically, if you don't see anyone in that home at the time, or don't seem apparent it's being occupied, you go into the house and search it to ensure that everything is everything.
Right.
Right. So from there, it was an open door. As soon as we passed walked up the steps and passed the threshold of the door, it was something like an object under like a rug. Of course, we flipped the rug, and it was a weapon, a firearm that appeared to be just used.
Okay.
So instead of recovering the firearm right in there, we cleared the house and everything. No one was in there, but we had to author a search warrant to recover the weapon.
Okay.
And that's what we were doing. So we was the initiative call, but we was racked up with calls. So the lieutenant like, listen, y'all the initiative call. Won't y'all sit in front of this location, and we're gonna put somebody in the back. Y'all two sit in the front, somebody in the back, just in case somebody come back. And what we're gonna do is the district detective unit, which is called DDU, Baltimore City used to be, they gonna author a warrant.
Okay.
Cool. So we sitting there waiting for them to author the warrant. Fed was like, yo, you know what I mean? You want to grab something? I go grab something from 7-Eleven. You want something? So I was like, yeah, no doubt. Some Twizzlers in the coat. So that was my go-to. So
Okay.
yeah. So Twizzlers in the coat. And man, Fed left, and he was probably gone for maybe a good 5 or 6 minutes, champ. And I could just hear shots going off, and it felt like it was so near to me.
Yeah.
And I look to the right. I stand up. I look to the right, and I just see this old guy, like running in slow motion. Because when you gotta understand, when a traumatic experience is happening, you got a flight of fear, but certain things you notice that it's just like in slow motion. Basically, this guy was running like a second a minute. He was running so slow, but that's what I could see. He probably was running his fastest. So he was alerting me that it was a guy that was shooting at me. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? So at that time, he tell me it's a guy, white shirt, white shorts on, and a white bucket hat, black male. Sure enough, I let dispatch know. I think we had Glenda that day.
Okay.
I let Glenda know over dispatch. I just told somebody was shooting at me, blah, blah. So from there, the whole district came. I go to make a right onto Monroe Street. I see the kid. Later identified as 17-year-old male, won't put out his name, but he was like walking, like la la la, like nothing was going on.
Yeah.
But he matched the description of what the guy was telling me. So at that time, I had my firearm out. I ordered him, you know what I mean? Let me see his hands. Man, sure enough, I'm talking, this dude went for his gun immediately. Didn't even put his hands up, went for his gun and turned around and started shooting back at me, shooting at me. And so I just saw him pull out the gun, and I hurry up and jump like behind the wall at Lanville and Monroe. He's still shooting back. So then I see, like, I'm peeking over. He stopped shooting, but he's running towards Payson Street.
Okay.
So from there, I shoot back at him. When I shot like the front windshield of a parked vehicle.
Okay.
Didn't hit him, and he ran in the alley. At this time, I remember my cousin Mike driving one. If you know, Monroe is a one way. He was driving the opposite way, lights and sirens coming towards me. So he yelling like, "Where he at? Where he at?" So I'm guiding him where he is. I jump in the car, my cousin Mike. I jump out. I jump out the car like in the alley, rear alley of Payson, and we chase. We running, we chasing them. They wound up getting the kid. And he wound up having the gun on me that he shot at me with. He had drugs on him and everything. So apparently his story was the reason why he shot at me. He came back. He was shooting back at the guy. He thought I was the guy that was sitting on the steps. Mind you, I was in full uniform. So yeah, call cap. So it was crazy. And apparently this kid had an open warrant from 3 weeks prior. He involved in the shooting on Coco Lane.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Right there,
Okay.
my mom Diamond. So
Okay.
this kid was a trouble kid. He wound up getting about 6 years in jail. But of course, it's Baltimore City. So I think he maybe did 2 or 3 because I remember one of the guys that I used to work with as well. Well, he used to work in the East and we was cadets together. My man Duck. He actually got involved in something with this same guy.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Years later.
Mm.
And it was just like, so it was a traumatic experience for me. My first time being involved in the shooting. My first time had to use my firearm, towards a human being.
Right.
Besides shooting at a target. And that day, man, it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I think Jacob was actually Jacob's mother was pregnant.
Okay.
And I remember at that time I was going through a lot of things in my relationship. And at that time, the female I was with, I couldn't count on her. She actually, after, of course, they took me in a room. They had me like I was a suspect. You know how they do. Wanted to ask questions. I had to ask for a lawyer and the whole nine. But after that, I'm anticipating going home to my lady, and she wasn't available. She went to sleep with me. So it was very traumatic because I went home. I actually didn't go home. I went somewhere else to be held.
Okay.
Because at that time, because I that was my first time using my firearm.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to take my life.
Yeah.
It was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think at that time it was a big deal for her.
Do you think she didn't understand the moment?
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
Because I actually got upset, and it wasn't intentional, but I actually got upset with her and my mom like a day after because they kind of chuckled about it. They kind of laughed about it. And I still was in like, this guy was about to take my life mode.
Yeah.
And so they kind of laughed about it and they apologized. But I told them, like, y'all really sitting here laughing like somebody tried to take my life last night. You know what I'm saying? It turned, it was a traumatic, that was my first, ever traumatic experience when it came down to police force.
Well, let me ask you this though, because that's definitely, so what, okay. When that happened, right? How did you adjust coming back into patrol?
Man, I was a workhorse. So I actually got a phone call the next day from, I think it was from like maybe a sergeant or a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Asking was I coming back to work the next day.
Did that? Okay. Well, no.
And that was and it actually was my Friday. We would say it's my Friday. So whenever the incident happened, it was my Friday, which meant I had 2 days off after.
Yep.
So I only took 2 days off, and I was a workhorse, and I felt like I didn't know what the system was. I didn't know how it affected me.
Yeah.
So after 2 days, I went back to work.
Did it affect you? I mean, so when you went back to work, did it affect your performance coming back on the street?
I don't think it affected my performance until like months later, because I think I was just so, the adrenaline was there, and I didn't understand that certain things, certain relationships I was destroying and everything, it didn't affect me until I started losing things, and then I'm like, dang man, I need to get help.
Okay, so when you went back, you wasn't paranoid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm asking. So when you went back, was you
paranoid. I hear fireworks because I hear, one thing about Baltimore City, we all know 4th of July is on July 4th.
Yeah.
But me and you both know they hitting firecrackers and fireworks all throughout the summer.
Come on, man.
So at times when I would hear fireworks going off or even shots fired, that would kind of send me into some type of shock without me knowing.
Yeah.
It'd be some type of hesitation, which technically, in law enforcement, people would know that any type of hesitation could get you killed.
For sure, for sure. I think when it comes to this type of law enforcement field,
Mhm.
if you don't have a spouse who has some type of connection to it, it's hard for them to understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because maybe your girl at the time and your mom don't understand, like, bro, this is life and death. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people think that, and which we hope they do, that person's always coming back home.
Oh yeah.
And there's a possibility where you may not.
Yeah, we know
Luckily,
several people that did.
yeah, luckily it didn't hit you at all,
Yeah, yeah.
which is fantastic. But after the person deal with the shooting, especially you was young too.
Yeah.
And it's just like sometimes you don't know how to feel. You don't know
Right.
what you're supposed to be feeling.
Yeah, I was about 22 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah,
22
yeah.
years old. It's like, yo, I don't really know. I'm going right back to work.
Yep.
Not knowing, but you need some time. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? You got to process your thoughts. But once again, that's almost 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, mental health wasn't at the top of the radar.
It was not.
At the
It
top
was
of the
not.
radar.
And
You
it's
was just
crazy.
invited to the
Yep.
department, get right back to
Yeah,
work.
it was
know
like
what I'm saying?
you're a robot.
Yeah.
Go back
We
to work.
need you. You're
Shit
the go-to
happens.
guy. We need you to get
You the I mean, because
Yeah.
unfortunately people feel like, and I hear a lot of people that never been police a day in their life will say, well, that's what you signed up for. Technically, it's not. I didn't sign up to get shot at, by a juvenile.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
Yeah. We signed
We
up to
signed
make a
up
difference.
to make a difference,
But not lose my life in the
but
process.
not lose my life
You
in
know
the
what I'm
process.
saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think a
so-
lot of people will say that, like, that's what you sign up for.
Yeah.
Technically, nah.
Yeah.
It's just like someone doing hair. You don't sign up to get burnt by curlers every day.
Yeah. Or get disrespected by the people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But we understand. So, moving on, because that's not the first time that happened to
No.
you.
No,
You
I
know-
mean, well, that is the first time that happened.
I mean,
to me,
that's not
but
the last
only
time it happened.
Yep, absolutely.
Correction, people.
Yeah.
That's not the last time that happened
Yeah.
to you. You got it, baby.
Uh,
Okay.
so-
in the
look.
time frame
Yeah.
from this one, from the first one,
Yeah.
what was the time frame to the second one?
It was about a year and a half later.
Okay.
July, and the next one was the following year, December of 2012.
Oh, and before you move on to this one, do you still think about the first one? Do it still cause a trigger for the first one, or no?
I'm gonna be honest with you. No, because the second one was even more serious.
Yeah.
So I think it trumped the first one.
Yeah, because
So at times,
okay.
this is my first time speaking about the first one in such a long time,
Yeah,
because the second one took precedence over the first.
for sure, for sure. What
So, I was with Baltimore City from 2007 to about 2012. In October of 2012, I left Baltimore City and wound up going into the lateral class for Baltimore County, transferring. And during that time, it was pretty rough for me because Baltimore City Police Department was my first love.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. That's all I wanted to do. Being born and raised in the city, this is what I love to do because I felt like I was giving back to my community.
Mm.
And, a lot of people, I was on the street. I had a lot of respect on the street, but it was because I knew people knew I'm going to do my job, but at the same time, when we spoke about, I was fair. And we spoke about that discretion as an officer. I used my discretion on a lot of occasions.
Yeah.
Because, I think they already was living, a certain way.
For
so
sure.
therefore, it was certain things that I did. And basically that was me using my discretion. So needless to say, I had a couple seasoned officers and detectives that's like, listen, man, it's time for you to get out of Baltimore City.
Yeah.
Baltimore City is going downhill. It might be a possibility where you might not even have a pension if you don't leave here soon enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I took their advice, and
Well, let me ask you this though: would you have taken that advice, but they didn't say that?
no, I wouldn't have taken their advice
You
because
would
I
have
didn't
stayed?
want to leave. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't want to leave.
So that was the reason why you left?
That was the reason why I left. I had a lot of people in my ear that's like, man, it's time to go.
Okay,
Especially
okay.
after I got into my first shooting.
Yeah.
They's like, listen, you're a magnet for bullets, champ. Like it's time for you to leave,
Yeah,
or you're gonna lose your life out here.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? That's just how I was.
No. So
Yeah.
you was on you was on a tangent.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I took their advice or whatever. One thing about me, especially if someone that I look up to or people that I admire, I listen. So basically, what happened was I transferred, did all the background with Baltimore County, and I went to Baltimore County in October of 22, and then from there, man, I was in a lateral class from October the 22nd to probably about December the 5th, December the 6th. And man, I remember going to the precinct and I was, Um, it was my second day on the street. So kind of getting new to what Baltimore County system was. You know everything about law enforcement, but you just got to get acquainted with what their system was.
Right.
So from there, I had someone that was helping me out or whatever. And from there, that night, my man Maul Barnes, he had a fight party,
Right.
and it wasn't even Mayweather. It was Pacquiao fighting somebody else.
Okay.
So we went out Orange Mills. That was the meetup spot. We was going out his house to watch the fight. And at that time, I went out, to watch the fight and everything. As soon as I got off of work, so I think I even changed my clothes at the precinct, and I still had my uniform at that time. I wasn't assigned a locker, so I had my uniform hanging in the back seat of my vehicle, which was tinted out. But if you walk so close to my vehicle, you can see that I had my police uniform up. So, needless to say, after watching the fight, it's probably about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my way home. I was living with my parents at the time, and I approached uh, off of Kenwood. I think it was Overdale or wherever it was, but I approached the street, and apparently, what I didn't know is it was a big party that got out of control because apparently it was pushed out over promoted over social media in the wrong way. So apparently kids from Essex, kids from Dundalk, kids
Right.
from Overly, it was kids from different, counties that came to this party.
Right.
So
Right.
of course
Right.
at
Right.
that time, me driving down, I'm catching a let out. Not purposeful, so I'm driving down, the street is crowded, full of juveniles, full of teenagers, young teenagers. And I had a kid walk up to my car, and I just asked him real polite. And I said, man, I beat the horn one time, and I said, man, y'all able to clear the street? Oh, we got you, big guy. We got you, big guy. And I guess he saw the police uniform hanging in the rear. And I think he asked a question like, are you police or whatever, da da da. Yeah, cool. That was our only exchange. Man, I rolled that window up, and I'm on the phone at the time. And I'm inching through driving, and sure enough, man, I just hear somebody say, "Oh, he got a gun."
Mm.
Mind you, and I would say this, and I teach it when I teach my Wayne Curry classes. You could not see my gun because I couldn't even get to my gun when I was involved in the shooting because I had my duty weapon on, but I had a outer carry holster that I put inside, and that's a bad thing. Don't you ever do that. So basically, I did that, and so I just heard somebody say, "You got a gun, man." I looked to the left. This kid had a gun pointed right at my window. The first thing I could do is put my arm up the shield.
That's how close he was to
That's
you?
how close he was. Right, this window here
Yeah.
was the same distance. I looked to the left. I saw this kid had the gun. I put my elbow up like this, so I wouldn't take a headshot. Man, this kid shot me in my elbow. At that time, I'm gonna just reenact it. Where at that time I caught it in the elbow. I turned, mind you, my passenger seat is here. I turned to the left, shot me here, shot me in my ass, and then shot probably about 4 times in my back seat. At this time, I'm still trying to get out of the car. I'm not even going for my weapon at this time. I'm just trying to get away from the bullets. So I was able to climb over my seat, get out the car. My car was already. I don't know how I got it in park or whatever. I jumped over the seat, got out the car. My window was shattered and all that, bullet holes, and I was able to get my gun. And when I got out the car, I yelled that I was a Baltimore County police officer. I just can remember me saying that. And to disperse, the crowd, I shot in the air because I couldn't see this guy. I couldn't see him running or anything. I shot in the air to disperse, and everybody was already running from the gunshots of him shooting, and then I shot. And from there, man, I'm telling you, man, it was so traumatic because when I was an officer in Baltimore City, especially when victims say they don't know who the suspect was or they don't remember what their face looked like, I used to think they were idiots, not understanding what your encounter or the traumatic experience where you can see somebody's face, and because of his traumatic experience, you can not remember.
That too, and tunnel vision kicking.
And tunnel vision kick in.
Bro,
and that's
for
where I
sure.
was by that time.
Yeah.
So when I get out the car. I get out the car. Everybody dispersing. I'm asking people, can they call police? Because my phone is still sitting in the car. People like driving off on me, like like I was just nobody. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So what I did was I leaned on the car. I was bleeding profusely, man. I was bleeding, and I didn't know where I was shot at. I knew I got shot in my elbow, but I didn't know, but blood was leaking pretty bad. And so what happened was I was able to reach back in my vehicle, contact I was on the phone with somebody and I told her to call police. Unfortunately, she was in Baltimore City at the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So when she called police, she called
Right,
Baltimore City dispatch,
right.
who then got to Baltimore County dispatch to let them know where I
Yeah,
was.
and that's a lot of time.
It was a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so I'm bleeding. By this time, I mean, it cleared out. I feel like I'm on the street alone by myself. And I'm leaning on the car, my vehicle's still on, and I got my gun to my side because I don't know where this kid is. Sure enough, I saw at the top of my block, I mean, at the top of the block, a Baltimore County police car, but it kind of stopped. And so once I see a few of them coming down, I realized I put my hands up, but I realized I had my gun in my hand. So I ain't wanted to turn, because I didn't
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
uniform on, so
Hey,
they
who
didn't
you
know who I
was?
was.
Yeah.
So I kind of threw my gun in front of me at that time when I saw them coming. I put my hands up and let them know I'm Baltimore County Police. And I remember a guy when I was out there alone, me feeling like it was a guy that came to his driveway, and I said, "Sir, I'm Baltimore County Police. Could you please call the police?" Because I just didn't know if my phone call got through,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
even called dispatch too,
yeah,
but it was just so much going on. I didn't even remember.
yeah.
So they came down and shout out to them. But the first thing that they asked, and I didn't understand, they say, we need to see your ID. We need to see your ID. And so I said, this in my back pocket. Sure enough, they pulled it out of my back pocket where I got shot at. Lord and behold, God is good. But that bullet was sitting right in my wallet.
Mm,
Sitting right in my wallet
mm.
with my badge, with my police credentials and everything. So at that time, they was like, "All right, we're gonna help you, brother." And Ambo came. They put me in an Ambo. By that time, I called my parents. I was able to get in touch with my parents and telling them I got shot. And my dad and my girl at the time came around the corner and followed me down to the medics, man. And I think the one thing I remember, my dad always talked about it when he got in the ambo, and I just told him, man, listen, please take care of my kids because at that time I'm shot, and I knew that my adrenaline was up, but I didn't know where I was shot,
Yeah.
and so
What did it feel like, bro? What did it feel like?
it felt like well, because the shot that hit me in the hip, it actually traveled 6 inches, 5 inches away from my spine,
Mm.
so therefore I could have been I should have been paralyzed. So it traveled 4 inches away from my spine, and that one felt like a sledgehammer in my back. That's the one I really felt.
Okay.
I really
The
felt that
elbow
one.
one you didn't
The
really.
elbow, no, it was like a through and through. It really just felt like a
Yeah.
just a wound, but a small wound. It was, but the one in my back,
Yeah.
man, that thing was painful.
Yeah.
So it felt like a sledgehammer. So once I got down, they was gonna try to fly me down to shock trauma, but it wasn't time. So they took me down a bumpy city road. It's crazy. And you know how I felt. Remember, I'm just leaving from Baltimore City and coming to Baltimore County. And I just remember when I got out of the ambo, Baltimore City police was lined up. It had to be about 50, 60 police lined up on each side,
Blocking the road.
blocking the road
Yeah.
and welcoming me in the shock trauma.
Yeah.
As I'm getting pushed on the stretcher, I'm giving everybody dap and that, because
They loved
that
you.
yeah,
They loved you.
that was the
Yeah.
level. That was the
That
level
felt
of
good.
love. It felt good.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then when I saw Dr. Scalia, shout out to Dr. Scalia, shock trauma surgeon, top surgeon.
Yeah.
When I saw him, I thought he was God.
Yeah.
Because I just saw a glare behind him and he said, I'm gonna save you.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what's so crazy is, right? When you tell a story, I can see it.
Yeah.
Right? I can see it. In addition to that, now I'm happy you're here.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
appreciate
Because
that.
when I hear it, it's like reliving it all over. But I ain't relive it, but you did,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I'm happy you got that feeling that you didn't get the first time of the comfort seeing all those people.
All those people.
It's like I needed that
I
comfort,
needed that
and you
comfort,
got it. You know
and
what
I
I'm
got it.
saying?
Yep, yep.
First time you didn't get it, how you
I
wanted
did.
it.
Yep, yep.
Second time you did. But when
Yeah.
I hear you tell a story, bro, like, see, when things are no longer relevant, they become in your past.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, damn, bro, I really went through all that. Like the motherfucker was right here, bro.
They're right there.
You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Headshot immediately.
bro, your mind is like, how do I process this? You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you able to, does it still bother you talking about it today? Even though I know you just told the story about a million times.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just reliving it again.
Yeah.
And the only thing I do, and I thank God every time because I know people that have been involved in getting shot in your car is totally different than being able to run away and or duck and hide. You can't do that if somebody presenting a firearm right at your vehicle and shooting at you.
Especially
It's
when
nothing but God.
Especially when it's unexpected.
It's unexpected.
Bro, you think you're having an even exchange with the guys, all good.
Everything all good.
And,
and
like,
then
yo, what
dude
the
come
fuck?
back with a gun.
Yo, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So to piggyback on that, the family came, everybody came, whatever, and they finally released me from the hospital. But 3 weeks later, I had to return to get the bullet out my back because that bullet was so close to my spine. Dr. Scalia didn't feel comfortable. It was swollen and everything. He didn't feel comfortable with removing it at the time. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it took a lot out of me. I really couldn't walk as much. I was more so wheelchair bound, and I was using a walker. Because that bullet was sitting right in my back and it was poking out. So it was hard for me to make an adjustment to walk. But what I honestly could say, Baltimore County homicide came to my house a day. I think the bullet was removed on the 19th. They came to my house the night of the 18th, and they caught the kid. And this kid he's still incarcerated, but this kid came from what I believe was a good family. Mom and them from a different country. Mom was a registered nurse. Dad was a truck driver, and this kid was just being a delinquent.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Apparently, the backstory was he purchased a weapon that day. Purchased a weapon earlier that day from a DMI gang member. And he kept on telling his friends they went to two different parties that night, and he wanted to use the weapon. He just wanted to use the weapon, and he just. Episode is brought to you by our sponsors, Cameo Consulting Company, a security agency and private detective agency within the state of Maryland and Washington, D.C., where our goal is to provide outstanding services, protection for our clients, and we are determined to build and establish a relationship within the community and businesses in need of our services. We are also MBE, DBE, and SBE certified through the state of Maryland. The services we provide are bodyguard and asset protection, executive protection, funeral details, patrol services and event security, private investigation, and surveillance. We look forward to providing you with our outstanding services and making your needs our priority. Our Instagram is Cameo Consultant Co. Facebook, Cameo Consultant Company. Our website is www.cameoconsultantco.com, and the phone number to reach us is 443-415-9636. Mostly, I was his victim for that night.
Man, that's when I hear you tell a story, even though I heard the story multiple times, man, it still seems so unreal, but it's real. You know what I mean? Like in the moment of someone right here beside your window, and you don't even know what's about to happen. All you know is you had a conversation with somebody, things went smooth. Next thing you know, somebody want to take your life for no reason.
Right. So, and again, like if it was leading up to something, I felt like if it was leading up to where, I was involved in an argument or, it was a hostile type situation, I would have assumed that something would have transpired.
Yeah.
And at that time, had I known that, I would have probably pulled my weapon and put it on my lap at least.
Right.
Because when you're sitting in the vehicle, you're at a disadvantage every time.
For sure.
So therefore, I felt like I would have at least put myself in a position where, had that happened, I would have been able to do something. But unfortunately, since it was a large crowd in front of me, so I couldn't back up, I couldn't go forward. Only thing I could do is encounter this gentleman, this young guy to my left, and I could just put my arm up,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
won't get shot
yeah,
in the head.
yeah. With all the training that we have, when it comes to the police things like that, no training can prepare you for that.
No,
You
I
know what I'm
think it was just
saying?
reaction.
Yeah,
It
man,
was
and
just being
having you,
scared.
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
be honest
yeah,
with you. It was
yeah,
just
yeah,
being scared. I
yeah,
mean, it was just
yeah,
the survival mode. I would say that,
yeah.
like
Fight or flight.
fight or flight. Yep.
Yeah,
So it just hand to protect my head because
yeah,
I know the headshot gonna take me out.
yeah, yeah,
Getting out the car,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
putting my back. I mean, having my back towards them could have been deadly too
for sure.
because they could have shot me in the back of the head.
I mean, I
But I
think
wasn't even. I was just trying to get out of there.
I think in that situation right there, nothing you could have did could have been right. You know what I'm saying? And we always can quarterback something in hindsight. For
Yeah,
sure, we can do that. But God is good, man. We just grateful that you're still here
absolutely.
because that could have went south. You
It
know
could have
what
went
I mean?
south on both ends. I'm just thinking. I always, yeah, we try not to Monday morning quarterback things, but I feel like it's me, so I can Monday morning quarterback my own situation. Now, had I took off in the car, ran over so many people, if I would have just put the car in drive and took off, or had I got out the vehicle and began firing back at him, the exchange of fire, it was so many people there. I could have, could have damaged a lot of things, killed a few people, or even injured some people, and then I would have
Right,
had to attest to that. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right,
I would have
right,
had to explain that
right,
in court and
right.
possibly be facing charges.
Yeah,
So sometimes doing the right things is doing the wrong things. You
for
know what I mean? It
sure.
would have been
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those type things, and it was just me trying to survive. But of course, I would have been held accountable because at that point I have some type of training.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
have the training, so it's like certain things that you'll do, which you could train all day,
All day,
right?
bro.
You could train all day,
All day.
but when those them bullets coming at you fast, or you're encountering a situation
Right.
that you never been involved in, bro. I have never experienced that in my life.
Right.
Yeah, I experienced people shooting and us just running, but being a police officer and having to run towards it or having to find your way to survive, I wasn't even police officer mode, champ. I was in, man, I need to survive.
Yo, here's the crazy part. Is when you think you may take the bullets, you don't. What I mean by that is maybe in the line of work, not outside coming from a
Absolutely,
fight going home. You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
I
Like,
was more so in a kind of comfortable position
yeah, you probably
where
was a good time.
yeah, good
Yeah,
time, vehicle tinted out. I ain't trying to find
yeah,
trouble. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Trouble found me.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
But the good thing about that is, King, that we can say is that you're still able here today to talk about it, be a living testament to how to overcome tragedy, right? How you turn something that was a negative thing, and you still forgiving of the suspect who did that to you,
right.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it refocused me. So I would say at times like it refocused me. I had some short term goals. I had some long term goals,
Right.
and at the time I was staying with my parents, and I think it refocused me because I knew I needed to do certain things. This is my second chance at life. Now it's time to grind. It's time to get what you yearn for.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And there was a lot of things I yearned for in my life at the time, but I was so stuck in that police world and, getting comfortable with being a police, enjoying the experience of being a police, and not understanding my purpose in life was more than that.
right.
And so I'm understanding now what my purpose in life was, but sometimes, it takes a certain tragedy to transpire in order for you to refocus your life on what's the main goal. And I felt like, I loved the policing. I was enjoying it. It was fun, but I had more of a purpose in life.
Yeah,
More of a, and I feel like my purpose at a lot of times is, just giving others the opportunity. You know what I mean? Giving others the opportunity, having jobs for others, and just, embracing on people and loving on people. And I think that's just my main goal in
yeah,
life, because I feel like a lot of times, especially when it come down to others, my heart is pure, with helping and, being so generous.
right.
And I think, just, God was able to spare my life. Or even we touched on my grandmother's situation. Had I left this earth in 2012, I wouldn't have been able to, been there for my grandmother for those last 4 years of her life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would say that I would add to it. I think that God has a plan for all our lives, right? And each chapter may be a different chapter, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta think about it too. You was a young man.
Yeah.
Um,
About 23.
23, you know what I'm saying? Still
22,
trying to figure
23.
out what the purpose is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
We gotta go to that young phase when we just having a good time out here, living a little bit. Got a little bit of money, police, a little bit of power. You know, we got so much going on, and of course, you know, you running the women. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Until you start understanding what your purpose is, what your mission is, right, and what your objective in life is to become, right. So I think, you know, through all those situations, and you here now, as a living testament to a person, is define strength, right? You are the definition of strength, and I mean that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Because when I say that to you, it's because not only the shooting situation, your grandmother's situation, the house situation, and we can keep going on and on and on, defines the definition of strength, bro. Like, you strong. You're a strong-willed person, so none of that stuff really broke you. It didn't break you. Now, don't get me wrong, you probably had a moment of vulnerability. That's human, right? But you were still able to stay focused, even in the midst of having kids, multiple, still moving forward, right? So that's the testament of strength, right? Turning tragedy into triumph and becoming who you designed to be. And there's so much more you got to go, right? But I wanted to say that's very aspiring for a person to hear your story and say, yo, he's strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You ain't perfect, by far you not, but you far from bad. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So we appreciate you for telling your story and
I appreciate that.
vulnerability. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt,
Vulnerability,
no doubt.
brother. But with that being said, episode 12 was truly about tragedy versus triumph.
Yeah.
How do we overcome being experiencing a situation that was difficult for us, right? Whether it being a Lowe's case, a shooting, or a loss, losing someone, or having something done to you personally. How do you overcome a situation, not become a victim of it, right? That's the most important thing. Don't allow a situation to victimize you, right? You overcome it. If it happened years ago, let it stay there, right? Right? Allow what happened in the past to don't define your future.
Absolutely.
Right? Your future is just defined by the decisions you make moving forward.
Yep.
So with that being said, we appreciate you.
Want you to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
One more time.
That's like, comment, share, and subscribe. And listen, we look forward to, giving y'all some good gems.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
Each and every week. Obviously, we're going to make some switches like we said, but next week,
part 2.
we talk about part 2.
Versus part 2, which we're going to go into triumph over tragedy. I'm going to speak mine. We're going to talk about that from there. And listen, in the comments, man, you also can give us some feedback for us. How did you overcome a tragic situation,
Absolutely.
right? What difficult tasks did you had that you had to overcome, right? Feel free to do that. We look forward to the comment. We read the comments all the time. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, OKC tonight, game 6.
OKC taking it home?
OKC taking it home.
Okay, OKC. Listen, he said OKC, game 7, I said.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate y'all.
Love
Until
you,
next
kid.
time.
Subscribe to the channel.
People hate when they elevate. Two former cops, shut the mics into the heavyweight. Blue on those the real ones, you know they was never